All right, what if the Detroit Pistons get the number one pick in the 2020 draft, which most likely may be a virtual draft? You have guys like Anthony Edwards, Cole Anthony, LaMelo Ball, James Wiseman, OB from Dayton. I mean, you got a lot of different guys that's going to be rising and falling in the draft or staying, exactly where they at. But let's talk about it. We back. Motor City Sports Talk in the building. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, bell icon button. Check our Detroit Piston playlist. And everybody can say, "Oh, Anthony Edwards," but there's no consensus number one. This kind of take you almost back to the Anthony Bennett draft. And I think the Pistons have a glaring need at point guard, which I'll get there. And also, you can trade back. You can trade the number one pick for a known commodity. There are some fringe guys that have option years that you could trade for. I mean, you can do a sign and trade and send a number one pick over to New Orleans if you wanted to. If you got the number one pick and get Ingram and some change and get a future number one, I mean, you can send it a number of places with the NBA draft being capped. These rookies got really, really franchise-friendly contracts. And you could thank Glenn Big Dog Robinson. He got $100 million as a rookie, and they was like, "Oh, this shit gotta stop eventually." But they go a lot of different scenarios. You could trade that for a known commodity. I mean, I don't know exactly who on the block out there, but I can imagine there might be some really, really good players there. Russell Westbrook may be back on the block. If you want to kind of, rekindle some of those talks, you probably can trade the number one pick to Houston, and you got the money to take on Russell Westbrook's contract. I mean, you got guys like, that may not be working. You got guys like Aaron Gordon, which I don't think he's good enough though. But you got some guys out there that's in sorry markets that don't want to be paid. I mean, you can do a sign and trade deal and, look at bringing Spencer Dinwiddie back and maybe some back from Brooklyn. I mean, it's a lot of different scenarios that you can work out in the Pistons' favor as far as, trade assets. But guys like DeMar DeRozan, Brandon Ingram, they are all out there. So that's just something that you can look at. Westbrook is another guy that's out there. You got a lot of talent in Oklahoma City that's there as far as Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who looking like he's going to be a star in this league. Obviously, they can rekindle the Chris Paul talks, but once again, this team is in a rebuilding mode, and I believe that they need a floor general for a long time to come. When you talk about Anthony Edwards, he kind of reminds you of Rodney Stuckey a little bit. He's explosive, big, strong guard, get to the hole, get his shot. But we didn't have those guys here before. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have the Jerry Stackhouses here before, Allen Houston for a minute. We didn't have guys that can get their own shot, on the perimeter. But the one thing that makes the Pistons successful when they obtain them are point guards. When they get floor generals and leaders, when you talk about that, the Pistons are at their best when Isaiah Thomas and Chauncey Billups or even the point forward at Grant Hill was running the show. So that just shows you when the Pistons have a good point guard, it seems like everything else falls in place. Especially you got to have the coaching and the management. So, for me, it's basically looking at the point guards, man. And also when you talk about having a number one pick, you want somebody that's going to get you on national televised games and that's going to put some asses in the seats. And right now, there's only one guy in the draft that can do that, and that's LaMelo Ball. People keep saying, "Oh, he ain't efficient." Man, people wasn't no PPR in the 90s. Nobody care about that. As long as you win basketball games. You got guys like Cole Anthony. You got guys like Killian Hayes, is a kid from Iowa State. So it's some guards in this draft, man. So it'll be interesting to see. Where they go if they did get the number one pick, because you easily trade out of it. It's an international guy who really, really good as well. But personally, if the Pistons did get the number one pick, I think it's only one option, and that's LaMelo Ball, because he bring a lot to the table. One writer from the Bleacher Report said he don't think it'd be a good idea because LaMelo will get a lot of minutes, and he wouldn't be efficient, and they can build the groundwork for not being efficient. I'm not worried about that. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at the length. I'm looking at the work ethic. I'm looking at the ability. He can shoot the ball. Right now he might not be a 40% shooter, but he work hard. You know what I'm saying? So, that's the guy I'm picking. Straight up and down, I'm not going to lie to you. Could Dwayne Casey still the coach? He can get the best out of him as far as defensively is what my concern is. The ability to pass the ball, being 6'8", long. Just look at that length between him, Christian Woods, and Diambo. That's a long team right there. right then and there, that's a really, really long team. Now, people talk about James Wiseman. I heard he kind of falling, but James Wiseman is a good player. You know what I'm saying? Him and Christian Wood can play together. He can defend the rim like Andre Drummond did. But once again, he a little bit better scorer than Andre Drummond out the post from what I've seen at the same age. But also, you had Drummond and it didn't work. The one thing you didn't have was a point guard. They need somebody that can control the flow, that can be the leader. And this draft is point guard field. If you think Cole Anthony the best guard in the draft, we'll take him. You think Killian the best point guard in the draft, take him. But they need somebody. They need a floor general. They need a floor general that's gonna control it. Now, is a rookie gonna come in and be the floor general that you need? No. Derrick Rose gonna be taking over a lot of the nights, showing him what and what not to do. But he can learn behind Derrick Rose to learn how to distribute, learn how to make the players better, and he can learn to be the point guard he need to be. So at the end of the day, it's only really one pick. If you want to put asses in the seats, you want to get the city excited, you want to get on TNT, ESPN, NBA TV, it's LaMelo Ball. And if he don't work out, it ain't the first time the Pistons missed out on a pick. You go back to Rodney White, Darko Milicic. It's a lot of times they missed out on guys. KCP, they didn't went to go look for the Anthony Edwards of the world, and they didn't have the Greg Monroes of the world and Andre Drummonds of the world. But the one thing they haven't done was get a point guard. And when they had Brandon Jennings, he was playing well. The Pistons was doing damn well. So that's the key to the Pistons organization, is having that point guard that can control the flow and that can make things work. And right now in the league, point forwards, LeBron, point guards, Westbrook, primary ball handler like James Harden, Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's what's really the league is going to. So you got to have a dope point guard. You got to have that guy. Luka Doncic, Trae Young, and LaMelo can pass the ball. He can distribute. You just gotta find a way to get him to defend on that side of the court. And if you get him to commit to defending with the rest of the guys they got, the Pistons will have a nice core with him. Then next year or in free agency, you look in and bring a guard to play on side of him, and they can grow together. So that's just my opinion on it. But they can go a lot of different ways. But we know the NBA probably won't get the Pistons the number one pick, even if the balls went out that way. You know what I'm saying? They probably knocked the Pistons down 3 or 5, 10 spots. You know how they is, man. They just got something against us. And that's why I embraced the bad boy role, man, because if they not became the bad boys, the Pistons wasn't going to get no championship. So, it's a lot of prospects in here. But it's going to be interesting because a lot of these prospects not going to be able to do personal workouts until the stay-at-home orders are lifted in the United States. And they started to be lifted, this week, next week. So they might have to put the draft back for some of these workouts, man, and get some of these kids in here. But, they could trade back. And I don't know who got multiple picks, but this ain't the NFL draft. I think if they number one, you take LaMelo Anthony and you roll the dice with that. And if he don't pan out, he don't pan out. But his brother's doing well. Lonzo's doing really, really well in New Orleans. So, his height, his length, his ability, his range, that jump shot to get more consistent in the league. He going to have bad nights. He going to have good nights. He going to have middle nights, just like Diambo. But your core is nice and cheap with Diambo and Woods and Melo. Next year, you can add a guard next to him, and then you can add another power forward or center next to Woods. So you talking about, and also you got some trade bait with Luke Kennard. Luke Kennard ain't going to fit here. C.V. Malachi is the guy to play the Luke Kennard role. That's something I talked about in the Piston podcast. I dropped the links in the description under Anchor. That's something else I talked about, is that Luke Kennard, it's time to cut bait with him. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people probably don't agree. He can't stay healthy. Why he still got some value on the market, I think it's time to cut bait with Luke Kennard, bro. He's just injury prone. They should have traded him a couple years ago. And he's not aggressive and he's not consistent. So, if somebody else want a shooter like him, I would bring back Langston before I brought back Luke Kennard. But, everybody got their opinion. They tend to love, Luke Kennard, Kyle Singler, a lot of Piston fans. But Luke Kennard, this ain't the right spot for him. You can flip him to Phoenix for something. You can flip him to a team that got 2 number ones to get a late number one or something like that and get you an international player. That's kind of where I'm kind of going at it with. But let me know what you guys think about Luke Kennard. He'd be gone. To me, he ain't that good. He can never stay on the floor. It's either knee injury or he on the floor. He just wasn't scoring enough or being aggressive enough. But when he do flash, but it's too far in between. I just give Malachi those minutes. I don't know much about Kyrie Thomas because I didn't see him play that much this year. But Malachi can just step in and do what Luke Kennard did, and you can count on him every night. as far as his availability. Availability is the best ability. But hey, Motor City Sports Talk, let me know what you guys think. Don't forget me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. All the links in the description. You got business question, inquiry, sponsorship, video request. Want to make a donation to the channel? That link's in the description. Best way to donate. Share the video. One time for the one time gone.